The Region 6 RDC held its monthly statutory meeting yesterday. More from Jalissa Hines.
The Region 6 Regional Democratic Council held its monthly statutory meeting yesterday, May 6, 2021. The first and main matters discussed was the rising COVID-19 cases, the vaccination program, and COVID-19 in schools. The chairman of Region 6, Mr. David Armagon, addressed the rising cases and guidelines that should be followed.
Once cases are identified, then those institutions are temporarily closed until such time that persons are declared free of COVID, and then they could go back to work. And of course, once the contact tracing is done and persons are found to be negative, they are supposed to go back to work. And that's how it has to be. And any person who is tested, you can't go to work once you're tested. You have to wait the results, and until you're proved negative, then you can return to the workplace. For persons who have COVID, after the time period of elapsed and they were re-examined by the doctors, then they will have to get a letter of clearance to go back to work. The numbers seem to be going up every single day. If you can get 36 positive in one day, and as we continue to test, you will get more and more. We still got a number, almost 100 tests outstanding to come in. So with that number, you probably might have another 20 to 30 again. And it's getting really bad. Right? So and there are some hot spots, like the New Amsterdam area is a hot spot, the Kanji area is a hot spot, Central Quarantine area is a hot spot, Skellen, I understand, is beginning to pick up again.
Mr. Armagon further stated,
if somebody wants to hold a wedding, they apply to the regional task force. I've had that clearance from the national task force, that they can apply to the regional task force, and if we are satisfied that they have the conditions in place and so on. But the numbers is 40. The maximum number for the wedding is 40. And for a wedding, you're only given 4 hours. And then, of course, too, you have to be able to observe all the rules pertaining to the COVID-19. Social distancing, if you have chairs, you have to put them 6 feet apart. The World Health Organization, which is the authentic health body in the world, right? And the CDC, which is the American health body, and the European Medical Council, they are all saying to people, it is, despite the little risk that might be involved in the vaccine, the overall benefits to be derived from the vaccine is much greater than the little risk that is involved. We as councillors, we also have a duty to ensure that we educate our constituency to make sure that they are safe, and one of the ways by which you can do that is to let them, encourage them to take the vaccine. So far, this region is leading the country in vaccination. Our target is about 72,000, 71,000 something. That's the adult population of the region. If we can vaccinate 75% of our adult population within the region, and by adult I mean 18 years and up, we can be able to arrive at herd immunity, what they call herd immunity. Herd immunity means the majority of the people within the region would have had the COVID injection, and so the spread of the disease is likely to be contained.
Regional Health Officer Dr. Sharma delivered COVID-19 updates and appealed to persons in charge of school buildings to make them available for sanitation.
In terms of the hotspots, to date we have 102 active cases in 6. We're discharging every day. However, the mass gathering continues, as Chairman said clearly. So in terms of our numbers, it keeps going up as well. We have spikes. Adelphi is one of the areas we work close to it, Adelphi County. We seem to have a lot of cases from there. We have cases, New Amsterdam now have 22, which is also one of the hotspots. The Akasari is much better, but we still have actives, or one active around there. Borealis subruta is also much better. All the contact tracing would have been negative. Hence we started the vaccination here. The team had to go to schools that were open. Many times no one came out to open the building. Bear in mind, this is an additional work to our normal sanitizing, which would have to be done in all facilities across 6. Health facility that has positive cases, including ward, operating theater. So we're kindly asking, once the team makes themselves available, especially on weekends, that the respective persons in charge of facilities also appreciate and respect that and come out in a timely manner and open these facilities.
The Regional Education Officer, Ms. Bagmati Cruz, addressed COVID-19 cases in schools.
However, Manchester Secondary, Portland Secondary, and Dunsterdam Secondary right now, we're still awaiting.
So they are shut down right now?
Yes, they are conducting virtual teaching. In the interim, what we expect is as soon as the sanitization and the contact tracing is completed, they are going to be back.
Lastly, the chairman delivered the agriculture report.
The crop is likely to be concluded somewhere by the 15th of May. If the rain continues, it will be aborted almost immediately. Because the dams are in a very bad state. Workers cannot be taken to work, and so the Gaisuku will be forced again to have a shortfall in sugar production, which does not augur too well for the sugar industry. Planting too has been affected, and when planting is affected, then it has implications for the next crop. Because if you can't plant now, then you wouldn't be able to reap later on. So that has also been a problem too. They need an excavator to fix a dam to the Broderson pump. Remember, the Broderson pump is a pump that brings water to quite a lot of farmers in the frontiers. And so we're trying to look to see if we can help them with an excavator.
He further disclosed the following details.
In terms of rice production, Blackbush Pole is almost completed, less than 5%. About 2% would probably be less than Blackbush to be taken out. So they are lucky. But in the 52-74 area, only 50% of the crop is reached so far. And because of the rainfall, we may lose quite a substantial part of that crop in the 52-74 area. In this region, there's about 70,000 acres under cultivation, probably the highest for many, many years. 70,000 acres under cultivation. The productivity is 40 bags per acre. That's the yield. 40 bags per acre, that's 150 pound bags. In Crabber Creek, they just got about another 15% of paddy to be reached. So the biggest problem we have is in the 52-74 area, where lots of money will have to be spent again in terms of making dams. Dams is a real big problem in those areas.
Reporting for Channel 8 News, I am Julissa Hines.